and welcome back to another episode of the Freelancers Tea Break, the short and sweet podcast you can enjoy whilst you're making a cuppa. My name is Emma Cossey. I am a coach and mentor for freelancers, and I've just got back from a networking event, and it's really reminded me how important it is to stay connected as a freelancer and make sure you're getting out there if you can and connecting with other freelancers and business owners, because it can be lonely. And I say that as an introvert who absolutely loves being at home on my own on the sofa. Love it. But I also know it's much more healthy if I get some of that people time as well. And I think when the days are getting darker and shorter, it can be really easy for that loneliness to creep in. So I thought it might be a good time to just remind you of some of the things that you can do to combat loneliness as a freelancer. I have become aware of some people using AI a bit to combat that loneliness. And I do understand that. I do use AI. I can see a lot of the benefits, but it's an echo chamber. And I think it's really important to be out meeting other people as well. But I do understand the use of AI to be talking things through with people and things like that. But yes, I would say it's still really important to talk to other people as well. Actual, real people who aren't just going to agree and flatter. Although most of the people I know are very lovely and would do that as well. But they would also maybe make suggestions that you wouldn't have thought of. Anyway, right, let's go back to some of the practical things. So, as I mentioned first, I've just got back from networking, so I think that's worth mentioning. I tend to go to networking events that are more relaxed. They're very friendly vibes. I've just come back from one called Berkshire Mummies, which started as a blog, and then she started lots of networking events. And I love them because everybody is so relaxed and gentle, and there's no pushy sales, and everybody just chats with each other and finds out about each other's businesses. And I met such a variety of people today, from a massage therapist to a town planner. Then I saw my lovely friend Terry, who's a photographer there, who I've known through networking for many years. So networking is such a lovely way to get out there, meet other people, feel inspired. And I always come away feeling a little bit more excited about my business, quite often because you've spent some time talking about why you love business. And yeah, it's a good reminder for your own brain. The networking is definitely a great way of doing it. There are lots of ways to do it now. Traditional networking, and there's morning ones, there's lunchtime ones, there's netwalking, which is where you meet up with a group of people and you go for a walk together and go networking together, which is it's a really good one if you are someone that doesn't love eye contact or gets a bit nervous, because you're walking alongside each other, so you don't do the eye contact side of things. There's lots around you so that you can point out if the conversation goes a bit quiet. And you get your steps in, which is great. But there's loads of different ways of networking now. We're not stuck in just suited and booted options. So if you do one thing, it's signing up for a networking event is such a good way to get started. And I've done episodes before about some of the things to do to make networking a little bit easier, especially if you are shy or introverted or neurodivergent. Next one is coworking. So there's loads of coworking venues now. There's actually, so lots and lots of co-working venues are popping up all over the place. Actually, near me, there's a little town called Woking near me. They've just launched one, which I think it's called Little Boardroom. They have co-working spaces next to a nursery, or like there's an inbuilt nursery built into the middle of the room, which sounds incredible. So there's so many better options than there were 15, 20 years ago. And essentially you go along, you hire a space. Sometimes you don't even need to hire the space. Sometimes I know there's an app called Reef, like Coral Reef, where they speak to a lot of pubs and cafes and things like that who are happy for you to hire a spot for a couple of hours, as long as you have like something to eat or drink. So there's lots of places that you can be co-working, and they're a great way of getting to know other local businesses. Quite often they'll have events and trainings and things like that. And it gets you out of the house. And I know a few in my business lounge who have signed up for them just to go out once or twice a week. So I think they sound fantastic. I've got a lovely little office space at home, so I don't necessarily feel the need to do it. But I think if I didn't, I would definitely consider going to co-working spaces. And the third thing I would suggest is just generally arranging to meet up for coffees with people. Um, I think I've spent so many years being a small business owner that I've built up such a lovely network of people that I can text and say, does anyone fancy going for a coffee, or should we all go for lunch, or anything like that? So even if you just know one person, that really helps. Or get to know your local coffee shop. Like, I know a couple of the people that own the local coffee shops really locally, and it's lovely to walk in and see a familiar face, and inevitably you get introduced to other people. So it's a really good way of doing it. But just have a more relaxed message to someone and just say, should we just meet for a coffee, or should we meet just after school drop off, or I'm going to be in town for this meeting, is anyone about? Anything like that. Try and make that time to just go for a quick coffee with somebody, because it really will pick up your day. There is also lots of online versions. So I offer the Facebook group and the Discord group, which both have lots of freelancers in there. The Discord I'm loving the chat in there at the moment. They've been talking about all sorts of mechanical keyboards and all sorts of geeky stuff, which I adore. But definitely make sure that you're connected, even like posting on LinkedIn and having a chat on there, or responding to people's Instagram stories and they respond to yours. These are all little connections and ways of connecting with other people so we don't feel as lonely. Meeting up with people in real life, in person, is fantastic. I'm also fully aware that it's not an option for everybody, depending on whether you have any kind of chronic health conditions or disabilities, or even things like agoraphobia and things like that. That's not always an option for everybody, but Zoom calls work really well, or just chatting to people in communities and things like that. They can all help. And I know in my Freelance Business Lounge, that's one of the things that people really enjoy. We have calls on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30, and we all just show up to chat about a week, share what's been going on, celebrate things and commiserate sometimes. And it's just lovely to have that group of people that you can catch up with a couple of times a week and just feel really connected, rather than feeling like you're doing this all on your own. Because just because you're running your business on your own doesn't mean that you have to be alone. If you found something that has been really useful for keeping loneliness at bay, please do let me know, because I would love to share it with the community. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely freelance week.